Hi, welcome everyone to the Child Assessment Provider Agreement for 2020-2021 contract year for Teaching Strategies Gold. I'm here with Kristen Graniff and Stacy Greenwald, so they will also be talking. And I'm basically going to be going over all of the sections of your provider agreement. So you can, if you have a printed copy, you can go over each section while I discuss it, or you can just watch this video and then sign it at a later date, and whichever you choose, okay? So I may be going over some things verbatim from the copy that you may have in front of you, and some things I may be grouping together, but I will let you know, okay? And if you have any questions about anything, please, of course, as you know, contact us. Let us know if you're unclear about anything. So we'll start in the area titled General, number 1. So I'll be going over the terms of the contract, and failure to meet the terms may impact your payment. Number 2, the assessment tool that we are using is Teaching Strategies Gold. So you may refer to it as Gold or TSG, but Teaching Strategies Gold is the child assessment tool that we use. And I'm going to group numbers 3 through 9. So as you know, participation is entirely optional for this program. Any provider that is not on a QIP will receive a payment differential. If your site is on a QIP, you may still participate, and we definitely want you to. But when it comes to payment, you won't get the payment until you are off of the QIP. But you will be ready once that happens. So if you are a provider, if you were to become ineligible, then your contract will be amended, but you can still participate in Gold. You just won't receive the differential anymore. And if you choose not to participate, we ask that you let us know in writing, okay? Numbers 9 through 10. So you will assess the children 3 times a year in what we call the checkpoints. There will be a fall checkpoint, a winter checkpoint, and a spring checkpoint. And we'll let you know when the fall checkpoint date is pretty soon. Your teachers who have a current inter-rater reliability certificate, meaning that they received an 80% or higher and have passed the inter-rater, are eligible to assess children. So they're the only ones who can input documentation and complete the checkpoint. That doesn't mean that they are the only people in your site who can take documentation. Your other staff can take documentation on children as well, and that would be great. That helps the teachers. But they are the only ones who can input it into the Teaching Strategies Gold website or in the on the app, okay? And I apologize, since we are working from home, you may hear my son who is talking with his cousins on the phone. He's a 8-year-old, so I do apologize if you do hear him. Kristen or Stacy, is there anything else that you want to add to that section?
Just remember to check your emails, because we constantly are communicating through email about reminders and upcoming dates. We're constantly going to be checking your dates for you as well, and sending you those reminders. And our whole job is to make sure you succeed. We're not going to let you sink, we promise.
Definitely, definitely. We want you to know that we're there for you. So please let us know if you have any questions or concerns, for sure. So in the next section, it's the program administration section. And I'm going to go through numbers 11 through 13. So each of you should have received blank copies of your parent consent forms. Each contract year, we need a signed copy from the parents that they agree to have their child assessed, okay? When you enroll a new student, we need a copy of that consent form within 2 weeks of enrollment. You agree to add that child into Gold, creating a profile for them that includes the child's birthday, their first date of enrollment in your program, and you must include the child OEL number and their funding source. So you do agree that you add the child within 2 weeks of enrollment. Does anyone want to add anything about that?
As far as funding sources, for children that are school readiness funded, you're going to select school readiness. For children that are PPK, you'll select PPK, and children that are private, you will select private pay. This year, because we do serve essential service children, there's also an additional funding source called ESS, and you can select that for the child.
Thank you, Kristen.
If I could also add,
Sorry.
for the parent consent forms, sometimes we receive ones from prior years, so just make sure that you send the current year parent consent forms.
Thank you. Number 14. So if a child were to leave your program, please don't delete the child. We always ask that you archive them because that child may move on to another program within Polk County, okay? And then that his or her records will follow him. His or her Teaching Strategies Gold records will follow them. Number 15, when a child transitions to a new classroom, the provider will transfer the child profile to the new classroom. The provider will not create an additional profile. So please make sure when your child is ready, if they have a birthday or they move up in group, please make sure you transfer the child to the next classroom. Do not make a completely new profile for the child, okay? Number 16, the provider is responsible for uploading required Teaching Strategies Gold or TSG certificates into the QPS system, the Quality Performance System, and notifying the coalition in writing when this has been completed. So if you have a teacher that has completed the Inter-Rater reliability or has any other certificate that you need to upload for them, please upload it onto QPS. If you need help with that, call us, let us know. But also let us know, let your quality specialist know or let your gold quality specialist know that you did that, just so we're aware, because we also keep records of that too, just so we're aware of that, okay? You may also hear my dog barking in the background. I apologize about that. Numbers 17 through 18. So to receive the payment differential, a child must be enrolled for 60 days in your program. If the checkpoint falls before 60 days of that child being in your program, you don't have to assess the child. However, best practice is that, yes, you do assess the child as best as you can, okay? You don't have to, but it's better if you do have some information about that child to carry over for the following checkpoint. Now, you won't receive the differential for that child, but it's best if you do have at least some information about that child for assessment purposes. Okay. Numbers 19 through 28, I'm going to read individually because they're extremely important as far as procedures for Teaching Strategies Gold. So number 19 says the provider should use the objectives for development and learning for guidance and clarification. Each of you have received a copy of that for your teachers. If you don't have a copy, let us know, but you will receive, you know, the one copy. Now, part of the objectives for development and learning book is available online on the Teaching Strategies Gold website. So if your teachers want that in those sections individually, you can have them go on there, print it out for them. They're readily available for them, okay? So please have your teachers refer to the objectives book for help or clarification as far as the meanings for each objective, because we know that they can be sort of difficult to understand for some people, okay? Number 20, in order to implement TSG accurately, each teacher must be provided with adequate time and opportunity to complete the documentation and reporting requirements each week. This should occur during the teacher's work week. So your teacher should be given time to input documentation, not on their lunch hour, not on the weekend. This should be on when they're on the clock. So please don't ask them to do it, you know, when they don't need to be online for Teaching Strategies Gold, okay? Number 21, all TSG users should be aware of confidentiality as it pertains to photographs, videos, and documentation of children. Remember that these pictures, these videos, these sound bites are used for teaching strategies. It's not for you to also duplicate and use for personal reasons.
You know, I'm going to jump in there really quick. The Teaching Strategies Gold app is designed for you to take pictures, videos, sound bites, and then it will upload directly to the website without saving onto your device. So it protects the child's confidentiality. You should not be taking pictures of children on your personal devices.
Right. Very important. And one tip, tell your teachers when they are going to use the app, have them open the app before an activity. That way they have the app ready. The picture is not going to download to their phone. The video is not going to download to their phone. It will go directly to the app, just like Kristen just mentioned, okay? Number 22, the provider's director or administrator will run documentation status reports for all teachers every other week. This is very important. In the past, we helped you a lot with this, but it is very important that you take the role in mentoring your teachers and helping them. This way, you know if they have been putting in documentation or if they have not. If they've missed a child, because it's easy to miss. When I was a teacher, occasionally I would miss putting in documentation for a child or two. So it is very easy to miss, and we're all working together for working towards getting documentation for each child. So please get into the habit of running documentation reports. If you need help with that, we definitely are here to help you and walk you through the steps in running documentation reports. We can also send you directions for how to run a report if you don't know. So reach out to us, please, if you don't know how to do that. And also your teacher should run them too. Like I said, it's easy to miss a child. It's easy to miss an objective or a certain section. So please encourage your teachers to run reports on themselves too. And this also helps them guide their teaching, guide their planning as well. Number 23, no later than 14 days before each checkpoint, the provider will utilize the online TSG program to confirm that all classrooms, teachers, and children are correct in the system. So right before the checkpoint, 2 weeks before the checkpoint, you as a director or you as a Gold administrator will make sure that the classrooms are current, the teachers are current, the students are current. Many times the students will leave and then a teacher or an administrator will forget to remove the child. So this gives you ample time, plenty of time to be able to check to make sure that your classrooms, teachers, and users are all good to go, okay? Number 24, during each checkpoint period, the provider will submit 2 pieces of documentation per child per objective and dimension, including preliminary levels using the TSG online program. For children on a color band in the not yet portion, you must add a note stating not yet observed. So we ask that you place 2 pieces of documentation in. You are definitely not limited to that. We know that most teachers are not doing just 2, they're doing way more than that. However, keep in mind that if you do put the 2 pieces of documentation at the beginning of the beginning of the checkpoint, that and you know, come the end of the checkpoint, you know that your child is at a different area, you want to make sure that you also get documentation in, because within 2 months a child changes a lot. So 2 pieces is the minimum. You definitely could put more in, and maybe should, okay, depending on the child, the situation, the classroom. Number 25, each teacher is responsible for completing inter-rater reliability independently. At no time should personal TSG information be shared. If an individual other than the assigned teacher completes documentation, checkpoint leveling, etc., the provider will inform the coalition about it in writing about this plan. So if you are having your teachers take the Inter-Rater Reliability, they must log in with their own username and password and not log in through using someone else's username or password. Now, if you have your teachers using your individual online or username and password, they need to log in with their own. That's tied to their name and their account. In no way should you go through someone's account and take the Inter-Rater Reliability or any of the other courses for that matter. The individual should be the only one taking the Inter-Rater and the courses, okay?
Also, the second half of that is just stating that if you, at your school, if you have someone that is the lead for teaching strategies and does all the entering, so maybe your teachers write notes and give it to this person to enter into the computer, just let us know. Whatever process works best for you, that's fine. We just need to be aware of it so we're not asking your teachers to do something when it's this other staff member that should be.
Okay, and sorry, I lost my number that I was on. Number 26, resources and materials provided by the coalition should be used by the provider for the purpose of supporting the TSG program. These are not intended for personal use. Resources and materials should remain at the program site. So on occasion, we may come in and ask you what schedule your teachers have in inputting information into the iPad that was gifted to you, or we may ask who has the objectives and development book. That is because those items are for center use and must stay on premises. Now, of course, this might be different for a family childcare home. It's your house, you're going to have those things there. But we may ask you about those things because we think it's important for all your teachers to be able to utilize that, especially the iPad. It's not just supposed to be used for Teaching Strategies Gold. It can be for many other purposes, okay? But we want to make sure those stay on the premises. Number 27, at times the coalition can offer support to the provider. This requires that the provider contact the coalition and clearly express the support needed. Support will be provided as time and resources allow. So many times you may contact us and we may not be available, but please leave us a message, send us an email, we will get back to you. Checkpoint time, the 2 weeks before the checkpoint is due, is an extremely busy time. We may not get your message. We may be running reports, talking with somebody else, helping or giving guidance to someone. That is not the time to ask us checkpoint questions or documentation questions, because that needed to be done earlier. We want to help you, and we do feel bad that we can't go out to help you personally, you know, with this time that we're in, COVID-19 and everything happening. But we're still here to help you. We can email, we can talk to you on the phone, we can even Zoom. If you need assistance, we can Zoom with you. If you have a new teacher coming in that wants to be trained, that's the way that we will be training for now. We can't wait till we come in to see you again. So we are here to help you. Don't feel that this is, you know, we leave you the directions and you're on your own. We want to help you, but we need to know that you need that help. So we are definitely here available. If you can't reach one of us, you know, contact one of the other Gold specialists. We will be able to, you know, relay the message, or maybe we can help you over the phone too. If you want to relay the message to your own quality specialist, that's fantastic too. They will let us know if you need help. And many of them are also aware of things in Gold, and they can also help you with a few certain things. But they can definitely relay that information to us, okay? Number Number 28, the coalition may be granted a period of time after the close of a checkpoint in which the coalition will make updates and finalize details with regard to the checkpoint. This does not grant the provider additional time to complete requirements. Any changes and updates during this time will be at the discretion of the coalition. So once the checkpoint is set and we tell you we need something at the close of business or midnight, or we give you a certain date, that is when things need to be due, okay? When we make special provisions is when there are certain, circumstances out of our control. And there are glitches that happen in Teaching Strategies Gold. Many times during the checkpoint, so many providers are logging in at the same time. There will be glitches. You may be kicked out. It happens to me all the time during checkpoint time, and I'm sure it happens to everyone on the team. So please please be aware that we're not going to give you extra time just because you call and say like, oh, we didn't get to it, we weren't able to. It's only special circumstances where you will get that extra opportunity, okay? And we will reach out to you about that. Okay, so the next section is the provider roster area, the last section. So numbers 21 to 31. So many of you have already been submitting your classroom and staff rosters on the quality performance system, or the QPS. If you hear us say QPS, it's quality performance system, and vice versa. So we will need you to do that monthly, okay? Many of you, like I said, have already been doing it. Those of you who are new to Teaching Strategies or new to child assessment, we will help you through that, and we will remind you. We will be reminding you through email, phone call. One thing I forgot to mention is through the Remind app. It's a really good way to get reminders on through text message on your phone. We may have an important email for you or an important update, and instead of having to call you and bother you because we know you're busy, we'll say, hey, please check for an important email, or something is due, et cetera, et cetera. So if you don't get the Remind notifications, please let us know and we can set you up with that. Like I said, it's an easy way to get notifications through text message on your phone if you have a smartphone and you upload the Remind app. So going back to the QPS, so how your classrooms are listed in QPS is how they need to be in gold. So if you have a classroom listed as the Bumblebees in QPS, it needs to be listed in the Teaching Strategies Gold as the Bumblebees. Easier would be if you just have their age level or age group or classroom. Like if you have VPK 1 on QPS, VPK 1 in Teaching Strategies Gold. Infants in QPS, infants in gold. If you have multiple classrooms, maybe A, B, or C, or infants 1, 2, 3 classroom, similar to that. But whatever you have in QPS must match Teaching Strategies Gold. So on a monthly basis, when we ask you to submit your roster, just please check over things. If you have any teachers that left, any teachers that are new, any classroom changes, make sure you also take a few minutes to go into gold, make those changes there as well, okay? So like I said, it needs to match exactly. Number 32, according to the initial visit form signed by the provider and quality specialist at the beginning of the contract year, if there are staff or classroom changes, the coalition must be notified in writing within 2 business days. The provider should email the assigned quality specialist with this information. So if you do have staff changes, let your quality specialists know. If it affects Teaching Strategies Gold, they will let us know, okay? Number 33, any provider receiving a child assessment payment differential must complete the roster confirmation in QPS by the 15th of the month. So when those of you who were eligible to receive the iPads last year came in, we mentioned that when you do your attendance for the coalition, that's a great time to remember to go ahead and submit your QPS roster. So when you set yourself a notification for that. Also set yourself a notification for the QPS. But like I said, we'll be bugging you about that. So please make sure you do that by the 15th and make the changes if necessary, okay? Number 34, the provider is responsible for assuring that the teacher's TSG inter-rater reliability certificates are attached to the teacher profile in the QPS and then informing the coalition in writing. So once your teachers have the Teaching Strategies Gold certificate for the inter-rater reliability, please also let us know in writing that they have completed the inter-rater reliability, okay? And that goes into number 35. In order to receive the payment differential, the provider must have at least 75% of your staff with Teaching Strategies Gold inter-rater reliability based on the rosters and documentation in the QPS. So it is very important to keep your staff reliability at 75%. All three of us try to remind providers it's better to be at 100% because you never know if someone were to leave, if someone gets ill unexpectedly, if somebody quits unexpectedly, then you fall back on the other staff who has their inter-rater reliability. Kristen, did you want to talk about floaters as well?
Yes. So like Tina said, we recommend that 100% of staff have inter-rater reliability, but the requirement is 75%. Now, I would also like to remind you that if you hire so say you have 100% reliability and someone leaves your site and that puts you under 75%. For example, if you only have 3 staff members and one person leaves, that's going to put you under 75%. You'll have 45 days after that you have a new hire for them to get their inter-rater reliability. So as soon as you start processing their paperwork to hire them, go ahead and we'll make them a gold account. Even before they're fingerprinted, we can make as many gold accounts as we want for teachers. That's fine, but to go ahead and get them started. I also always recommend that floaters and assistants have inter-rater reliability. And assistants, if they're in the classroom for more than 3 hours, they're considered full-time instructional staff, so they're required to have it. But floaters, a lot of times you're testing your floaters out, and if someone leaves and you decide to keep them on staff, it's great because they've already taken their inter-rater reliability. But you would not need to add that floater to QPS until they become a full-time instructional staff, which means they're in the classroom for at least 3 hours a day in the same classroom. That's when you would add them to QPS, and that's when you'll put their hire date is the day they started working 3 hours a day in the same classroom.
Thank you, Kristen. And that was number 36. You went over number 36. So that was the very last one under provider roster that we needed to go to. So you'll all be, like I said, if you're not looking at this now, you'll be receiving a copy of it. You will be signing through DocuSign and you'll receive directions for how to do that. And that's the contract for this contract year for Teaching Strategies Gold. We thank you for taking your time to view this presentation. We miss you guys too. We want to tell you we do miss going in and helping you. I think I speak for both Stacy and Kristen that we really do miss you. If there's anything you need, talk to us, please. We want to make this year successful for everyone, okay? So with that, I'm going to conclude and thank you all for viewing our presentation.